Good. Hello everyone, welcome back. Venom here with a tier list now. So we're going to go talk about Epic 7's current tier list in 2023. Well, mid 2023 anyway. So currently in our meta, I believe this is close to what I have for my opinion anyways on each unit. So obviously you can pause the video yourself and check out the list yourself and keep look for the character that you want to see here. Any units that I haven't actually put into the list itself is usually they're usually PvE units, or they're just very underrated units. Otherwise they're just units that I don't really have an opinion on. General ones that I see in PvP right now are the ones that are already in this chart here itself. Okay, so just a brief explanation on the tier groups that I have. So the most wanted one is obviously the top rated units at the moment. Currently these are I think is the most powerful units out at the moment. So I usually bottle it down to whenever I see these units in like a defense team or in RTA, I kind of get scared. For instance, if I saw ML Sermia on the enemy team, I kind of panic straight away, and obviously try to keep the extra attacks, counter attacks, and you have to adjust your normal teams to go with the flow to counter this unit itself. So for this side, the most wanted tier list at the moment is the top. These are the ones which actually have an effect on the opposing player. Okay, the super units is basically the second in my group. That's what I favor as very powerful units. They actually come under most wanted, but not that scary, and sometimes they usually it requires a certain team to pull it off safely. This, for instance, I'm talking about, say for instance, Rylet. It comes under super units and not most wanted because he can get countered, and it's kind of easy once you've taken off that evasion buff. He gets because he gets kind of useless afterwards, and that sort of thing. I mean, these units are great, but they're not the super units that you see in today's meta. Okay, and the third on our list is powerful but situational. So these are very different to the second tier here, where they come under. Sometimes some of these units are actually stronger than these super units here, but it's very situational in the fact that it depends on what you draft as your allies in your team, or what the enemy has in their defense team as well. For instance, Apop Ravi, she can actually 1 versus 4 the entire team. However, if the enemy has a certain unit that counters her, like a light unit in your defense team, a Ravi's going to have problems with that unit, etc. So these are very powerful units, but it has to be in that correct situation where they can actually pull it off. Say for instance, Arya, she needs to get her turn, get the counter up, stealth all her units, allied units, and she can actually just solo the enemy team. So most of these units, I'm just saying that it's very good units, but it depends on what the enemy has as well. So fourth on our list is just good. So these units are just basically units that are above average. They are pretty good, but sometimes they will just be easily countered. Say for instance, if we had Arbiter Vildred on the enemy team, you can always just pick somebody with anti-revive like Bryceria, or somebody that buffs themselves, buffs up the team when there's a revive on the enemy team, or you could just go extinction. These kind of stuff that kind of make these units great, but there's a lot of counters to them, which puts them down further on down the list. So this is my section, which is just basically good units, but not average. They're above average. The next on the list is fun to play. So these are the units that sometimes they're not even in meta right now. So for instance, like Violet, you rarely see this guy, and Charles you don't see anymore, but they are actually fun units to do and use when they do get it going. Like ML Ken as well, he's pretty much off the meta right now. Not many people use him, but when he does work, he is actually fun to use, and that's what this fun to play one is basically if the unit does what they're supposed to do, it puts on a really good show, and it's it puts that adrenaline inside your bloodstream when you see them doing well. I'll give it another example. It's my Charles. So I do have a Charles with like high attack and high critical hit damage, average defense, and then low HP. So he does a ton of damage when he does pull off his Elbrus counters. So when enemy attacks an ally and he actually gets his attack in, his S1 into S2, it does insane damage, and it's just really fun to see, you know, some of these units do well in that respect. You know, when it does happen and they do pull off a spectacular firework, then it's pretty good to watch. And then lastly we have average, which is basically just units that you know, they're just very average. I'll just put them into this section here, which is basically just normal units. Okay, so you can use them, but they don't really work too well in today's meta. And then outmeted and benched is the last one here. So these units are just basically ones that you don't really need to use at all anymore. I know that Little Queen Charlotte's going to be put up into these sections here a bit later on. I think she's getting a buff soon. And then Assassin Cartuja, I think it's going to get a jump as well because he's getting a buff as well. So these two units are going to be buffed very soon. There's a couple of other units as well, like Arunka is getting a buff as well, so I don't know where she's going to be placed later on. We'll have to see. But currently the outmetal or bench, they used to be good, you know, like Dizzy, that she was good for a while. Cerise was very good as well. And then we have who's this guy? I can't remember what he's called, but you know, these units like Tisaren, they were actually very good in previous seasons before they got outclassed by new units. And you know, like Huayang's down here as well. I used to always use Huayang, and you know, I know a lot of you are saying Huayang users are all just noobs using Huayang to climb ladders, etc., because she's so powerful, etc., and that kind of thing. But yeah, after she got the nerf, she has fallen completely. In my opinion, she's never really used, and people who use her, you know, they can try and say she's really good, but you know, reality shows she is off the meta right now. Alright, so that's basically my list here. That's all I've really got to present here. You can just look up whichever unit that you want. Say you want Sid, and you know, he's in this second here. So basically all these most wanted ones that I have put up here, say Armin, Destina, these are the ones that you really want to get for the time being. If you're new to coming to this game, these are the units that are in today's meta. And you know, as a free-to-play player, as myself, because you know, a single working parent with 2 kids soon to raise, you know, and a family. I can't be wailing about and using up too much money on a video game. So F2P player like myself, this is the current list that I'm kind of looking at right now. So I don't know if you know, you guys agree with this, but this is my opinion anyway for a free-to-play player like myself. Any units down here I forgot to mention, you can mention it in the comments, but these are just basically the PvP units I'd say in today's meta, which are mainly focused on anyway. But yeah, all right, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this has helped in some shape or form, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.